Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Carol Matibula saying hello. Oh, hi. Yes. Now, yesterday we spoke about spirituality, and it was really something so beautiful that I needed to share. As I said, every day we'll be talking about different subjects. So every Friday we talk about culture, the most difficult subject, especially as an African woman coming from Africa. I realized that culture can be such a broader image or a broader story that can really confuse you, or it can strengthen you. So, what is this culture? And I always ask myself, really, how does culture pave us? Where did this culture begin? And what does culture mean in the face of each individual, every person who holds culture so dearly to them? What does that mean, culture? And having to live in different countries, I really got confused over the years by the word culture. So today I'm going to emphasize on the confusion that I found in culture. And then as we go by, we'll talk about different subjects around this word culture. Now, this is me evaluating the world in my own view. Now, you don't have to, as I always say, you don't have to be a part of what I say, but probably there could be something that can give you a little bit of light. All that I'm saying, it's just really my view in this life. Culture is confusing you guys as I am tackling it, but I've got lots of questions. So if you have something to share around culture, please do not hesitate to give me a hint. Now, culture. As a South African woman growing up in South Africa, culture has always been such a broader image, as each and every one in Africa has a culture because of we come from different tribes. As in my own country, South Africa, I know we have 12 different languages, and each and every language has their own kind of people, and this own kind of people, they've got their own culture. So I am Sutu, and Sutu people, they've got their own culture, the way we eat, the type of food we eat, how we prepare the food, how we look after ourselves, how do we sound as we speak, what are the things that you need to do as a Sutu woman to showcase respect to the one who's elder. So the moment a person is literally 2 years older than you gotta bow to that person because of they are older than you. So respecting the elderly in my culture, it is something very important as other cultures, but I'm going to explain it in my own culture because that's what I know. And that was something that I always adore. I remember I had a cousin, and my cousin was just a year older than me, and I always wanted her to be to think of her as me. I never had a kind of respect for her because I thought, oh, we are friends. And I remember one day she sat down with me and said to me, Carol, you have to know that I'm older than you and you gotta respect me. And I took that for granted, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's you. I mean, what do you mean I have to respect you? We are all buddies. And then from the moment she said that, she had started a subject. And I remember her going into the house and telling the people who I grew up with, and she said to them, Carol doesn't want to respect me. Rahaba does not want to see me as an elder sister. And I remember the whole family sitting down and really guiding me into Carol. She's older than you. She came in this world before you. And from now on, you have to call her sister, Ausi. And I thought to myself, and I remember me breathing and getting this heat and thinking, my God, I gotta call this woman a sister. And from that moment, I learned an essence of respect. There was no other way around because of the elder people had spoken. So I love that because of it was guiding me into respecting the one next to me. But then there was another culture whereby every year, when you turn a certain age, kids will be taken and there'll be a razor blade that is put next to them, and they'll take this medicine and mix medicine with different kinds of things. Now, this moves now into health culture, and then this culture was that for us to be strong in the world, for us not to be affected by any entities or any. I hope you don't hear the noise of the people next door. Oh, and now this razor blade, they will take all different kinds of herbs and then they'll mix it with snake poison. And then this thing will then they'll cut kids on their neck like to 11. We used to call it 11. And then these kids will be, they'll put this medicine around their body and telling them that they are strengthening them. And I used to be very afraid of that razor blade. And I used to think that to myself, oh my God, I hope the razor blade won't come to me. And of course, my great grandmom then, her being Jehovah Witness, I was lucky enough not to be taken through that journey of that culture of this little boys and girls being cut on their body in a form of protecting them, which somehow probably I missed out. But I'm glad that that was not done to me, because I felt that it was not, it was kind of abusive in my own way. So I wonder how will other person view it. Then another culture that I found that was very interesting was judgmental culture. As the Sutu people gather together, who they thought it was important for them to hang around with. So at the end of the day, I'm saying that culture, it is something that you have to decide as a person. How do you practice culture? What are the elements of culture that you find that they are good for you, but also they are good for the person next to you? Because of this cultural thing, as an African woman, I'm always questioning this culture and ever confused, because of I realized, having to live in different countries in the world, there were moments where I was told that we as African people, we do not know our culture, we do not know our history. And it's so amazing that this culture is always mixed with history. And I'm thinking, how do we separate politics from our culture? How do we separate our belief system from culture? What is culture? Does that make sense? So over this period of time, every Friday, as I'm going to be exploring this culture, because I'm lost myself. I don't know what culture is. I know the culture that I grew up with, that I loved and took and put it into my lifestyle. I know the culture that I grew up with, that I really didn't want anything to do with, and I took it out. I know the culture that I had designed as me as a woman in this world. How do I walk in this world with that culture, and also as a certain kind of belief system to respect those who are around me, and also to respect myself, and also to create. So culture comes in different ways, but culture as well, it can be very dangerous, because through culture, people but they are strong beliefs, As I'm talking about this culture of mine, I can never, ever take my culture and enforce it on somebody, because of my thinking about culture. It's my own way, and I feel that sometimes culture can be very selfish, because culture, what happens when people feel like they have lost a debate, or they have nothing to say at the table, immediately they bring culture. So culture serves us when we need to use it to protect ourselves, or when we need to use it to control others. This is my own belief. And please let me know if I'm wrong. So for me at this moment, it's me exploring the word culture. When it comes to spirituality, I'm very well equipped. When it comes to culture, I struggle a lot about this word culture. So now, what makes me to question this culture is that the fact that I have lived in different countries, I realize that this culture as well, it's turned into political, and it can be very dangerous. What is now? I've put down a few things here, guys. Bear with me as I say to you that I'm not so good with this cultural thing. It is something that I find myself trying to, to research. I'm researching the word culture. So if this sounds okay for you, share. Just share your thoughts, and please subscribe for this video, as of course there's going to be lots of interesting things that we are talking about. As you know, for Mondays we talk about business, Tuesdays we talk about entrepreneurship, Wednesday we talk about mindfulness and health, and then Monday we talk about business, Tuesday entrepreneurship, Wednesday we talk about mindfulness and health, and then Thursday we talk about spirituality, Friday we talk about cultural, and of course sometimes Saturdays when I've got time I'll talk about politics. So these are the things that makes me. This is my kind of map in this world. So cultural, I've written down a few things here. The truth about culture. When I try to explain to people about my culture and try to protect myself and say, this is the truth about my culture, please respect that. Do I have a right to protect my culture? And the truth of my culture, is it a truth to the person next to me? The truth of my culture, is it something that I have to put out there in the world in a way of me protecting my country and my fellow people for my own country? Or is it culture that's something that ever evolves? The truth of culture, is it the truth that culture, it's not something to really so much protect? It's something that you design yourself to suit your own standard. That's question number one. This is question. Okay, change. Are we allowed to change culture? Is it a culture that your mom and dad had taught you important, and how important that is? Is it the culture of your community that you have learned from your community important, that you even have to go and enforce it on others so that others can have a same point of view in your world? And how, once again, changing culture can change the world for the better, for the better life, for our future. How do we share each other's cultures and take what you like from what Carol has said and run with it, and take what you do not like of what Carol has said around changing culture, and instead of you attacking them, just give them your point of view in a way that they understand. Because I think when we talk about culture and politics, that's when this predator spirit of ours occurs. So change your culture to create a comfortability around those who are around us, because of the world is ever changing, We are not who we think we are, because of the next minute, what you think has been a belief system that has served you, suddenly next time you realize that this belief system was you not allowing yourself to grow. Now, is it culture a very important part in our growth? Is it culture a very important part in us letting go and acquiring the new? Change, it's ever the beauty of culture, I think. Change it when now it becomes too fanatic, because sometimes I think in everything that we are, we can become so fanatic. And is it culture a part of belief system? And now when I say belief system, I really realize that the world we're living in, it's designed around a certain very distorted belief system. And sometimes belief system can be something that really shine the world for growth. Having, as I said, I love being an African because of, as an African, you are exposed to all different kinds of belief system. You are exposed to all different kinds of mentality system. They have told me many times that Africa is a shithole. Now, why? Now, when I ask people, why do you think that? Recently, and I got all these things, I got them from the United Kingdom. United Kingdom gave me a voice for me to really voice out my belief system. And they said Africa has a dying culture. You all have this tribal system where you judge each other, where you're all fighting and kids are dying and it's dirty. And now, and this was told by so many people in this country where I've just resided upon. And I thought to myself, wow, this actually had become their culture, because it's something that they have created, that each and every one of them has the word to try to tell African people what they think of Africa. And is that really a belief system, or is that a culture? So this is where I was kind of struggling. And I remember one man saying to me that I have someone who looks after my mom, and I just don't like this girl because she's from Africa. And you know, she comes, at least we give her food, but sometimes she does not understand that she's a slave. And the person who was saying that, it was a black man who's born in the United Kingdom, who believes that because of she's from the United Kingdom, African person, they are hungry, they just need to be fed. And once you feed them, they have to do whatever that you wish them to do because of their slave. Wow. And I remember me having to stand strong, fighting this cultural or this belief system that breaks others. And I thought to myself, what do I do to understand a belief system? What do I do to try to use my cultural understanding in this world? And I realized that, do I even have a culture? Or do I have different kinds of happenings, different kinds of activities, different kinds of subject, different kinds of discussions that helps me to pave myself to be a better person? And I realized that the only way for me to really live freely, by not being attacked by all these things that people say and how they say it, was for me to realize that, you know what, instead of me saying I'm cultural, rather stick into me understanding the word spirituality. Please tell me if I'm wrong, because when you think through spirituality, you kind of think of things in a wholesomeness. You do not remain on just what you think, what they have taught you, and try to engage with people through that. So to cut this subject short, is that your culture, let it be the one that educate. Let it be the one that strengthen. Let it be the one that makes people around you to grow and to feel holy, to feel empower people, because culture can really disempower people. Now, teamwork. Now, when we are in culture, and this is a question for me too, because I don't know if I'm really good in teamwork. I'm still learning, but I do try my best to do my best in teamwork. How does teamwork affect the strength in teamwork? Africa today, it's not evolving because of we missing the essence of teamwork, because of, as Black people or as African people, because I thought it was only African people until I started traveling the world. And I realized that we, as a Black people, we are struggling with the essence of teamwork, including myself. I'm doing my best because of I invoke my spiritual knowledge and my spiritual wisdom to try to understand this cultural thing in teamwork, because I think when we enforce our culture as Africans, sometimes it becomes too much because of, as Africans, we are taught to respect culture. We are taught to be very afraid of culture. We are minimized just by us to do what we know until, and we talk about this cultural thing in such a way that we protect it. And sometimes we bring these things into workplaces. We bring these things into world stage. And once we bring them into world stage, it does not allow us to grow because of we only look at things from the box where we grow up, the box information from, but not realizing that when we get out of those boxes and get into the world, the culture will become as vast as the size of the ocean, never ending, never see the beginning of the ocean, never see the ending of it. That's what I believe. So, working team, we need to reduce a little bit of this cultural thing in Africa. And I think this cultural thing in Africa, it makes us one man, one power, where we're only fighting for ourselves to become successful. And I do not know if we're really aware, and I truly believe that's what holds us back, cultural in teamwork, cultural in building a better society. How do we build this, our society? Me coming from South Africa, I've got a big culture which allowed me to be a part of South Africa. And that culture was also, it was political, but it became cultural in a way that apartheid, how did apartheid scar us? And what did we do to defend ourselves in South Africa? And what do we do to defend ourselves out there in the world? How does the negativeness that has took place in South Africa affects us outside of South Africa? Through the political system, and by us fighting this political system, we all took our each individual cultural, such as you've got the Tongas. The Tongas are amazing people. They are hard workers. They were really they were not treated well in times of apartheid, and having to be Matebula because of my aunt who adopted me. I went to London, and having to be in London, I realized that quickly the Tongas became a part of me. They really wanted me to be associated with them until they started asking me questions. And this is why I'm exploring culture. This is me really trying to find out what is culture. And the moment they realized that I was not really Matebula by birth, I was just Matebula because of my aunt was married to the Tonga. Immediately I was cast away, and realizing the pain of this culture, how it keeps people, even in their own countries, isolated from one another because of we bring this blah 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 mambo jumbo culture. So this is toxicness of culture, and how important we need to change it. So wherever we sisterhood and brotherhood, because it's very easy for the Africans to say my sister, my brother, but how deep does that go? And so these are all questions, really. Responsibilities of cultures. How responsible I am for my culture. I think I'm responsible for my culture through the strength around it, but I'm responsible for my culture with those who are similarly like me, those who've got the same belief system as me, as a Sotho woman. When I'm with them, I gotta respect that. I gotta take that in account, because I can't look down on my cultural with those who have the power of respecting that culture. What does that culture means to them? So my responsibility is to respect each and everyone's culture. Accountability. How accountable are we for our culture? Now, this is really something very important, you guys. In South Africa, once again, through this cultural thing, you've got babies who are born. There are tribes in South Africa who cut their babies' faces. And when you see these people, man, they've got these big stripes around their faces. It's that thing that I say, some of them they cut small, but some of these wounds are so deep. How accountability are we with us keep on cutting these babies who have no voice, and as they get older, someone has made someone has made decision for them, and they have to walk in this world with the scars. Now, as a mother and father, how accountable are you for this culture? And who does this culture serve? Does it serve you? Does it serve those who started? And when it started, why did it begin? So this is me questioning the accountability of culture. Are we questioning culture? Or is the culture something that we just have to bear in our belly because of we found it there? So culture, for me, I'm confused about culture. For those who say I don't have culture, maybe you're right, because culture confuses me. I've got so many things that I have to deal with in my life as a human being. And again, I'm bombarded with this blah, 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 blah culture. Yes, I've got culture that I love, and culture that I love, it's spirituality. I love spirit. I rather change the word culture into self-discovery instead of really keep on remaining in this culture. And once again, me not having to grow up with the people that I was supposed to grow up with. As you know, I grew up with my great-grandmom, but before that, I came from different families who were bringing me up. So by the mere fact, my culture is very distorted. It's just me playing with life, really realizing that you are your own person. You have to change your narrative in life. And your narrative is that if it does not work, question it. If you are confused, question it. If you're wanting to find answers, just go on YouTube and reveal yourself to the core, because we are in this world to reveal ourselves. And then, yes, through community, we need to really realize that our most important thing is spirituality and self-discovery. These cultures can be very, 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 very disturbing, the orders of humankind, because through these cultures, that's when we put each and everyone in a box. That's why we've got Muslims, that we think Muslims aren't good because of their wear their things. Leave the people alone. That's their fashion style. That means something to them. That's their culture. And if they feel good about it, leave it. If a Nigerian person is good in business and they go around the world and they fight to survive and do that, let them. As long as they don't affect anyone, they do things to improve themselves. As Carol Matibula, just being herself, doing these things that she does. This is also cultural. These YouTube videos of mine, it's my own culture of me trying to express myself. So having to cut the word, this conversation short is that cultural, it's your canvas to the world, for the world to see who you are. So sometimes let us not to be too fanatic about culture. And once again, I still do not know culture. I'm just exploring it. So let's see again next week, Friday, about this exploration of culture. If you have views about what you think culture is, share. I'm really confused with it. And this is me equipping myself with knowledge by me just being as naked as I am with whatever that I know. So this is Carol Matibula saying, have a wonderful weekend ahead. I'll see you again next week, Monday. Please prepare your pen in front of you. Have a nice book, your notebook, and your pen, as we're going to be discussing the essence of business. We're going to start from a beginning, and we will go with it, just what I know once again, because of business. It's where we're going. As soon we will be busy with writing our New Year resolution for 2020. So follow my channels, subscribe, please. You'll see a face of mine there. press on it, and that will allow you to subscribe so that you can get all these discussions. So today, this was me talking about the subject that puzzles me, culture. One love all. This is Carol Matula saying, I love you. Ciao. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye bye. Oh, lovely.